250 miles above the Earth. An 11-year-old space station drifted through the dark. Its panels were scarred by micrometeorites. Condensation beaded along the cold spots on its metal hull. Inside, 6 men from 3 space agencies shared air, water, and a system of small chemical fires. They lit in order to breathe. They called them candles. They were solid, fuel oxygen generators. And on the night of February 23, 1997, one of them erupted into a blowtorch. Mir had been in orbit since 1986. By 1997, it was the oldest continuously inhabited structure humanity had ever placed in space. And it was aging. Metal fatigued. Systems strained. Every year, pushing it closer to its limits. It had been designed for 3 men. But space missions don't end cleanly. They overlap. And in those moments, the station filled beyond its design. 6 men. Inside a machine built for half that number. Russian cosmonauts. Valery Korzun, Alexandra Kaleri, near the end of their mission. An American astronaut, Jerry Lininger. And the incoming crew. Vasily Tasibliev, Alexandra Lazutkin, Reinhold Ewald. 6 men. 5 narrow modules. No space to escape. No room for error. Just recycled air, recycled water, and a life support system. Never meant to carry this much weight. Mir's primary oxygen came from an electrolysis unit called Electron, which split water into oxygen and vented hydrogen into space. But Electron was notoriously temperamental. When it failed, the station relied on a backup. The Vika solid fuel oxygen generator. Inside a sealed metal canister sat a cartridge of lithium perchlorate. When ignited, a thermal chemical reaction released pure, breathable oxygen. The crew called them candles. They were routine. Ignited thousands of times. On the ground. And aboard Soviet and Russian stations. Without critical failure. But in 1994, an early variant had already caught fire on Mir. The backup system remained unchanged. The candles kept being lit. Night of February 23, 1997. Shortly after dinner, Alexandra Lazutkin was assigned to replace the cartridge in the Kavant 1 module. He inserted the fresh canister, locked it into housing, and activated the thermal igniter. Instead of a steady release of oxygen, the canister suffered a rapid thermal runaway. A jet of flame, nearly 3 feet long, blasted out like a blowtorch. In zero gravity, molten metal sparks didn't fall to the floor. They floated, striking the opposing bulkhead and clinging to the wall, burning. Jerry Lininga, standing nearby, called it the most terrifying moment of his life. Within seconds, dense, toxic chemical smoke filled Cavant 1, reducing visibility to 0. Mir had 2 Soyuz spacecraft docked at the time, the crew's only escape pods, in a lethal depressurization or fire scenario. With 6 men on board, both vehicles were required to evacuate everyone. The wall of flame in Cavant was burning directly in front of the transfer hatch, leading to Soyuz TM-24. For as long as the flames spewed molten metal, across that doorway, 3 crew members were completely cut off from their escape ship. There was no time to discuss options. The crew donned charcoal, filtered breathing masks, pulled fire extinguishers from the bulkheads, and moved toward the heat. 3 liquid, foam fire extinguishers were discharged into the fire. In microgravity, spraying them produced floating spheres of foam, steam, and hot toxic slurry that clouded the room further, without smothering the chemical core. The flame did not go out, because it was extinguished. It went out, because after 90 seconds, the lithium perchlorate charge burned itself out. For 90 seconds, a blowtorch scorched the station interior. But for 14 agonizing minutes, 6 men fought through blinding smoke, floating debris, and extreme heat to cool the white, hot casing and prevent the hull from breaching. When the thermal reaction finally subsided, the station hull was intact, but the air was poisoned. A dense haze filled every connected node. Mir's environmental control system,
The pressure is dropping again. I know.
had to run at maximum capacity.
Just log it, I can barely keep my eyes open.
For hours to clear carbon monoxide and toxic chemical residue. The crew remained in breathing masks, monitoring ambient toxicity levels. while floating through a scorched, soot-covered compartment. Everyone survived, without major burns, but no one on board called it a routine anomaly. Joint investigations by NASA and Roscosmos later pinpointed the probable cause: a microscopic trace of organic contamination, likely a fragment of a latex glove or wiping cloth, had slipped into the canister during assembly. When heated, the organic matter reacted violently with the chlorate mixture, triggering an uncontrollable reaction. The failure mechanism was understood, but Mir had no alternative. Within weeks, with the primary electron system failing again, the crew had to make a choice: face the risk of another canister defect, or run out of air. By late March, logs show the crew had burned dozens more solid fuel cartridges in the exact same module. They accepted the danger because breathing was non-negotiable. The 1997 fire was not Mir's last crisis, but it became a turning point in spaceflight engineering. The hard lessons learned in Cavant 1 were directly integrated into the design of the International Space Station, leading to isolated oxygen generation bays, redundant, non-toxic fire suppression systems, and stricter manufacturing controls for chemical cartridges. 14 minutes of chaos in orbit proved how fragile life in space truly is, and how close 6 men came to losing their only way home.